Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. If you are new, my name is Kayla and I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for clicking on today's video. If you want to be my friend, I would love to have you here. I am a homeschool mom of two. So I have a 4-year-old or a 4.5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. I've been homeschooling Riley, my oldest, for this past year. So this coming year will be the second year that I homeschool her. And then with Jackson, we haven't really been doing anything formal with him. But, you know, he's going to probably pick up on some of the stuff that I'm teaching Riley. So the point of today's video is really to show you some of the good and the beautiful stuff. I did another video, probably like the most recent video that I posted, sharing a review of the Horizons pre-K curriculum. So I wanted to give you another curriculum just to like compare and contrast and see if there's anything here that speaks to you one over the other. I know that as a homeschool mom, sometimes it's hard to like pick a curriculum and everyone is like super sensitive about their curriculum and it's like my curriculum is better than your curriculum and there's all these things. And at the end of the day, you just want to teach your kid. You want to teach your kid. Obviously, you want to use materials that you like, that encourage you to teach them. But my goal with all of my homeschooling videos is really to show you that it's really not that hard to homeschool. I was super nervous when I was just getting started. I had never been homeschooled before. I had no experience. I am not a teacher by nature. I didn't go to school for that. So I was like, can I do this? And I did do it last year and I survived. So I want to just show you some materials. I had never picked up anything from The Good and the Beautiful. I've heard about it. So I ordered a couple different things that I may end up using for Riley. I may use the other curriculum that I shared and then supplement with some of this stuff. But I think that these are all good options. So I'm going to show you the pre-K book. I think there's like a preschool curriculum. I also picked up the arts and crafts book. They also have a kindergarten prep book. And then this is probably what I'm most excited about from The Good and the Beautiful. It's the big book of science stories that comes with like their science, you know, curriculum. So it's called Science for Little Hearts and Hands, Fields and Flowers. And I thought that this would be something that Riley really enjoyed because Riley's into nature and like we've got our garden going this year and she's been really interested in stuff like that. So I thought maybe she would enjoy either having that as her science curriculum or supplementing whatever it is that we end up doing with her and doing that on the side too. I think she's gonna like it. So we're gonna go through this stuff. If you guys have any questions, let me know. There are people that love this curriculum and I can definitely see why. The curriculum itself is very pretty, very nice to look through. And at first glance, like I went through some of this. I haven't like read every lesson and stuff, but at first glance, like again, I think it's a great option for teaching a preschooler. My biggest thing with a curriculum was that I wanted to make sure that it was Christ-centered, biblically sound. So I haven't gone through, like I said, every single thing. At the end of the day, I feel like if it's incorporating some element of, I don't know, Bible learning while also teaching them things like their letters and their numbers and like the basic foundations, then I will be happy. And by the way, if you happen to be new here and you've never seen any of the other homeschooling videos that I've shared, I encourage you to maybe check them out. I'll have a playlist down below in the description box. If you want to see how I did like pre-K 3 for Riley or like how I was teaching both of them last year, I did a couple videos like that and I hope to still do more this coming year. So if you want to homeschool with us and get some ideas and all of that, then make sure you're subscribed. But I think we're just going to start first. How about we just start with the basic pre-K course book. Right off the bat, I'll tell you, it looks like it's less material than the Horizons curriculum that I reviewed in the other video because it's really just this one book. Well, this one book and then also the practice sheets. I think the biggest difference too is that there's no separate teacher's guide or like teacher's book. If you saw the other video, Horizons has like one teacher book and then one student book, or you know, 2 teacher books, 2 student books. But it looks to me like everything is in here. So you might like that, you might not. We're not gonna go through like every page, but I wanna give you an idea of like what you can expect, you know, in the course book. So about the course, frequently asked questions. This is nice. It's like a little list of like extra items that you would need for each lesson. Like, you know, for some of the activities, I guess, you know, you might need 3 dimes or a spoon. So that kind of helps you to plan accordingly. So unit 1, lesson 1. Let's just talk about like the aesthetics of the curriculum. The aesthetics are definitely there. You know, I like the font, I like the colors. That's one of the reasons, again, why a lot of people like this curriculum So I do think it's very pretty, very nice to look at. So like for Unit 1, Lesson 1, how many lessons in total are there? There's lessons, I think it was 90. Was it 90 lessons? So it looks like there are 90 total lessons. In the Horizons curriculum, you'll remember if you saw that one, I think there was like 180 lessons. So this is less lessons. So that might be either a good thing or a bad thing. You have like items needed over here, what you need for that lesson. So here's how this one is structured. Anything that's in blue is like really for the teacher. So here it's telling you like point to the alphabet on the previous page, read to the child. You would say, these are the letters in the alphabet. Repeat after me. There are 26 letters in the alphabet. So this is like legit a script of what you would tell your students. So again, you're not making this up as you go. Like it tells you how to do it. Let's watch a video on the alphabet song. And then I guess there's a specific, page where you can go to figure out like where you can find the alphabet song. I'm sure you could just go on YouTube and find the ABC song because it's not that difficult. So again, this is all stuff that you are saying to your child. And then here it says have the child color in the uppercase and lowercase a's. So then you would give this to them and have them do that assignment. I don't know how well I like that just because Riley sometimes likes to have her own workbook. So like I kind of have to be sharing this with her. But if you can get past it, then I don't think that there's any kind of issue. The one thing I like to point out with these curriculums is like here, like it's telling you exactly what to do as a teacher. So as a teacher, point to the words active alligators below. These are the words active alligators. They have uppercase and lowercase a's in the word. So everything you need to tell them is right there. So here it says, take the letter A page out of the preschool practice sheets. So these are the preschool practice sheets. So I would go to this letter A over here. Now what does it say to do? Have the child complete one of the following items. Either paint or color the items, the letters, fill the letters with Play-Doh, mini pom-poms. So these are all the things that they can do with this, practice page over here. So it looks like there's one for all of the letters. We'll kind of go through this in a minute. But that was all that was there for Lesson 1. Lesson 2, still on the letter A, but we're working on just different things. It says read to the child. Let's review. What does the letters A say? So here's where like some of the faith comes in. So like here we're on Lesson 3. It says read to the child. Let's talk about colors. God gave us many colors to make the world beautiful. So it's clear that there's gonna be like some mention of God, some mention of faith in here. But what I'm not seeing is like with Horizons, like every day there was a Bible verse and every day there was a memory verse or a Bible lesson. It doesn't seem like that is included in here. Maybe you like that, maybe you don't like that. I wanted to like kind of incorporate that. Now I could still totally get this and then incorporate Bible study on my own and use something different for Bible study. That's totally doable. But that's like one of the things that I'm, seeing here, like in terms of like the differences having compared the two. But the aesthetics, I mean, are definitely there. I do like that it's kind of like a flip book, whatever, a spiral bound book. I think that's handy. So they're working on pencil grip. They're working on lowercase letters. Here it looks like, they get to a point where they talk about seasons. So I'm just obviously skipping around here. When I got to lesson 26, there's a section here that says, play the Otter Ponds folder activity, number 1. So that's what I'm reading here. So there is a folder activity. So you get all of this when you buy the pre-K curriculum. And there's a couple different activities in here. See here, it says play the Otter Ponds folder activity. So this comes, already done for you, which is nice. So we're not doing Mouse House, we're doing Otter Ponds. So you just would grab this out of here. And then this is super cute. So it gives you instructions, lay out the otters on the table. Now, where are the otters? I have no idea. I think, it says preparation. Okay, preparation. With the craft knife cut, the white dash slits, punch out the otters and store them in this folder. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's these things. So this is like cardstock that is included. So I'm sure that there's something in here about otters. Let me see if I can open it. So that's what the otters look like. So I could punch these out and then have them in there. But just to give you an idea, there's other things to punch out for these other activities. There's one called Mouse House. There's one called Letter Boats, Feed the Elephant, Moon Match. So these are all gonna be really cute, like little games and activities that the kiddos could play. So that might be super nice. So I could prepare them and then, okay, so this is like getting, I guess, the otters, like figuring out what's uppercase, what's lowercase. So that's like a fun little activity. And this is all stuff that I could save for Jackson. So what are the instructions? If it's uppercase, the child should have it and swim under the water. Oh, I think I've got to cut out, like I've got to punch it out. But whatever. The concept is you're doing something about uppercase and lowercase letters. You can just like fold it back away in like the little folder for activities. So that's super cute. That's that little folder. The practice sheets, I'm just trying to like flip through to see like what is in here. You've got a lot of like numbers, colors. So I'm really just seeing a lot of letters and numbers, S and T, drawing a line for like what the thing starts with. Having them circle like the letter T. So Tommy the tiger. I don't see a lot of like science stuff, which was one of my concerns too last time around. So I'm not seeing like a whole lot of that, but maybe it's just included in the curriculum. These are just, again, practice sheets. And then these letters, the ones that also came in the beginning of the packet here, they can, I guess they use that to either color them or paint them. You could have them use them as Play-Doh mats. Okay, and then reading these preschool practice sheets, like over here, it says each unit includes 10 preschool practice sheets that provide additional review of the principles taught. The practice sheets are optional and are not scheduled in the course book. So these are things that you can just give your student for just additional practice, homework, whatever it is that you want to call it. So practice sheets, you've got the folder of activities, and then really everything else is included in this little booklet over here. This says one of the things that they're learning in Unit 3 is identifying body parts. So I guess some of that science is in here. So let me go to where they start identifying body parts. So here in this lesson, there's like a picture, and then it has like you talking about the picture. So it says, read to the child, let's talk about this picture. What color is the girl's bow? What letter does blue start with? Point to the boy's jaw. What letter does jaw start with? So some kind of looking at a picture, interpreting it. I've seen that done in like other curriculums and stuff, which is really nice. But I'm not seeing anything about identifying body parts. Let me see if I can find that. Okay, so I guess that was like the extent of learning body parts. Like it says, like have the child point to his or her chin, jaw, cheek, forehead, eyebrow. So then they're doing that through that picture. I thought it was gonna be like more parts of the body. But I wanna get towards like maybe the end of the year to see what they're learning towards the end of the year. Because as like the year goes on, like the stuff that they're covering gets a little bit more complicated. I like to see kind of like where they're at, you know, mid-year. So let's look at some of the concepts. So this is Unit 5, Lesson 57 out of 90. So they're working on the letter Q. And I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to see that, but they're working on the letter Q. So working on uppercase, lowercase q. Then it seems like there are some videos that they can watch, and I'm sure, again, like at the beginning of the course book, there's something that'll tell you like how to access these videos, because it says like, now the child is ready for the video, letter sounds, movement activities. So this is something that they can watch, and I'm sure it'll teach them something. This is good over here, like having them tell you which letters are missing in the sequence. So that's good. Just a lot of pencil grip. I've noticed they're focusing a lot on pencil grip, which is good. So getting, like having them trace things in different lines. This is cute. Like you hand your kid the book, and then as you say the numbers, like they go touching them. So it's kind of like they're playing on the keyboard. So like they're interactive things that I think is good in here. It also, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it comes with a set of flashcards. So I've seen them mention that. So it comes with a set of flashcards for uppercase and lowercase letters. So it seems like they have them work on that, which is nice. And it's nice that these flashcards are kind of already done for you there. So overall, I think it's a good curriculum. I think though, it's a little bit, I think it's more of like a pre-K3 curriculum, if I'm being honest, than like preschool. Like it's more like pre-K3 versus pre-K4. And I think for like a pre-K4, that's why they have the kindergarten prep. So I'm just gonna read to you, there's a course assessment after here. So it says, in order to move on to the kindergarten prep course, the child should have the following items mastered. So identifying colors, counting to 10, recognizing numbers to 10 does not need to be mastered. So just being able to count to 10. Recognizing both lowercase and uppercase letters, and identifying the letter sounds of the alphabet, singing the alphabet alone or with someone else. So if they can do all of those things, then you might want to consider the kindergarten prep book versus this one. Like this one is still a great review. Maybe like you just want to keep it simple and have them review those things. This is something that I could definitely use with Jackson, who we haven't really covered a lot of those things. But in my opinion, just looking at different curriculums that I've used before. Like the Horizons for 3 curriculum that I did with Riley last year is very similar to this, in my opinion. I just don't think that if I use this as Riley's curriculum, she wouldn't be learning anything new. So I think I will likely be saving that for Jackson. But let's look through the kindergarten prep course book, because maybe this one is a little bit more for like, you know, pre-K 4 curriculum, like right before kindergarten. Okay, so in this course, you've got this course book, right? And then the course book also in the back has some punch out pages. So you also get flashcards, and then there's like some little scenes here, I guess, that they do games with and stuff. So there are some like punch out things that are like harder paper material. So you've got that, and then you also get access to some songs and videos and all of that. It also seems to be a pretty short thing because there's only 29 lessons in here. Well, 30 lessons. Well, 30 lessons, but 29 and 30 are the course assessments. So an overview of the course, it says mastering recognition of uppercase and lowercase letters, letter sounds, reading 2-letter and 3-letter, constant vowel, consonant words. So these are all things that I would like Riley to work on. Identifying beginning, ending, and middle sounds, more along the lines of what like Riley doesn't know yet. Recognizing vowels, colors, introductions to word families, numbers 1 to 15, motor skills, rhyming. So if I had to guess, this is much more of like what I would want Riley to be working on, given that this past year we worked on some of the more like, you know, pre-K 3 concepts. I don't know. Like, I don't want to like misguide you guys, because again, I don't know what level your child is at, right? Like, I don't know exactly where your children are in terms of their schooling. Maybe you could do like both of these together, like, and maybe you could go through this quicker. Remember, this is a lot less lessons. This is like 90 lessons versus Horizons that has 180 lessons. So maybe you do this, and then right after you pick up and you start doing this one. Maybe that's the way that it was designed to be done. Yeah, you see, like, I feel like if you give this as like a pre-K book, I don't think it's supposed to be like a preschool book, because you start and it's like lesson 1, you're already at vowels. I feel like there should be some introduction to letters. So maybe you kind of have to go with both of these, or like start off with this, see how you feel. If you feel like they need some more advanced things like at the end of the year, or you go through it quickly, then you pick up this one. But this is like talking about vowels, and have the child say the name of each item, then say the letter that it starts with. So these are like letter sounds, more tracing. This is having to do with rhyming, and then matching lowercase and uppercase letters. So yeah, guys, I'm kind of just stumped. I'm looking through these lessons. I would not just go with this, but this is the more challenging stuff that I would want Riley to eventually at some point in the year focus on. More mention of God. So like this was like, look at this beautiful painting. It's so peaceful, shows the beautiful world our mighty God created. So if you want no mention of God in your curriculum, which I don't know why you would want that, but if you wanted none whatsoever, then like this is gonna mention God, it seems like. But in my opinion, it also doesn't have as much of a biblical focus as the Horizons one does. So like all this stuff I have already, so I'm gonna hold on to it. And as I go through the year, like if I see that there's stuff that Riley hasn't covered with her curriculum that this does, then we can implement that. It's also hard to say because I don't have the kindergarten curriculum from them, so I don't know how that plays a role, or like what ages technically the kindergarten one is supposed to cover. But it's a basic pre-K. It's a basic pre-K. I don't think it's super challenging. I don't also think that there's a lot of science in it. So in that case, let's look at the big book of science stories, because again, maybe it's not even supposed to include science, a lot of it. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to pick up something like this in the first place. So the big book of science stories, when you get this science for little hands and hearts and hands, you get both of these. This book is beautiful. I have not read every single story, but it's got like 15 different stories on different topics. So like one is called Desert Plants, Masters of Survival. The other one is called Seeds, Parts of a Plant, Butterflies, Snakes and Things That Slither. So let's go to Snakes and Things That Slither, and we can take a look at that one. Let's go to page 136. So there's like a cute little story on that topic. And so that's what it kind of looks like. It's not like a super long story. It's a few pages, something that you can read together, you can read at night. And then there's, this one's actually longer than I thought it was, but it's a nice little story. And then that's the next one. And then it has the pages in here that correspond to that story. So the actual like science curriculum has more than just 15 topics. There's actually 30 lessons. So I guess not every lesson has a story. Like there's less stories than there are lessons. But they cover things like garden flowers and worms, lizards, ladybugs, dragonflies, honeybees, edible plants. So all of those are things that I thought Riley would like. So here you have like a supplies list. So for every lesson, it tells you what you're gonna need, which is really nice. Edible plants, you need a piece of fruit, a vegetable, some lettuce, and then you go ahead and you get started. So lesson 1, trees that live and sleep. So it says, again, very similar to like the fact that the pre-K curriculum, like it tells you exactly what to read. It says, read to the child holding up your fingers for the number of trees as you read the poem. So one tall tree. So you're reading them this cute little poem, talking about the trees. Here, this is something that you're gonna tell them. So like, have you ever noticed how many different kinds of trees there are? Let's find out more about these amazing trees that God created. Then there's like a movie time. So you access the video that's for this lesson by going to the website. So you're gonna watch that little video and then you're gonna go to the discussion questions. So you discuss some of the stuff that was like in the little lesson video. Then it gives you an optional activity. This one says collect any type of leaves from your yard or your local park and create leaf rubbings. Place a collected leaf under a piece of paper, remove the paper wrapper from a crayon so it tells you how to do the rubbing. This is stuff that, I mean, I've seen this before, right? Like I've seen some of these activities before on Pinterest and stuff. What's nice about having it in a book is you don't have to recall it, you don't have to remember, you don't have to do the research on your own. It's kind of like already there, like I always say with these videos. So if you're somebody that's like, I don't know that I'm that creative, how could I ever teach my child? Like, I'm not a Pinterest mom. Like, it tells you what you can do. It gives you ideas so that it's not all on you to like figure these things out. But it seems like for the most part, there's some kind of like introduction to that topic. Then there's some kind of either like a poem or a story, some kind of like an activity, then either reading the story or listening to the video, watching the video, whatever, optional activities, discussion questions. So I don't think it's super, like this wouldn't take a ton of time. Obviously, if your kid is into it, like you could have a whole day devoted just to science, or you can just incorporate it once a week. So this is something that I will most definitely be adding to our curriculum, regardless of what we end up doing. Like if we do the Horizons curriculum, I'm still gonna do this with Riley once a week because I think that she'll really enjoy it. And like Joe can read her one of these stories at night. Like if that week we're doing worms and there's a story in here about worms, then at some point in that week, Joe can read to her at night instead of any of the other books that they read throughout the week. They can read this one. So you kind of just find ways to incorporate whatever it is that you want to teach your kids into your day, into your week, into your months. How I homeschool doesn't have to be how you homeschool, and how you homeschool does not have to be how your friend homeschools. Like, that is the beauty of homeschool, and I will repeat that until I'm freaking 80 years old, because the point is that your kid is learning and you're getting them excited about learning and you're teaching them the things that you want to teach them. So I do like this little science curriculum. This is not as confusing to me as like the actual pre-K, you know, kindergarten prep, whatever it is. Like I don't know, I'm kind of lost in terms of how I feel precisely about where that curriculum would fall into Riley's path. But maybe that pre-K curriculum is perfect for your child and that's exactly where they're at and that's the stuff they need to be learning. And in that case, maybe that's the right move for you. So the last thing that I have to show you guys is this arts and crafts project book. I think their website also has a lot of other books that you can buy depending on the topic. So you might just want to like go on there and see if there's any other books that you like. But this I thought would be one of those things that I could buy, and so that I don't have to be thinking of crazy crafts off the top of my head, or I don't have to be, you know, saving things on Instagram. Like I still do that anyway. Like whenever I see a homeschool account that shares like an activity, like I'll just save it for later. Instead of like having to go back in there and, you know, find these crafts and projects on your own. Like here's a book, I can open it up and maybe there's something in here that I want to work on. There is like a supply list, so every lesson tells you like what you're gonna need in terms of supplies. Hopefully nothing super complicated because I don't need that in my life. They didn't number how many activities it is, but I'm sure that it's enough, because remember, like your child also like is in pre-K or kindergarten. They don't need to be doing a craft every single day, guys. Like we still have to clean it up, we still have to clean up the mess. Like I do a lot of crafts with Riley, but just because there's a day or 2 days where your kid doesn't like glue something onto a paper, it doesn't mean that you're a failure as a parent or as a homeschool mom. Like, please let's all remember that. So this one here is really cute though. It's sunflower watercolor. All they need is some watercolor paint, some paper, paintbrush. So what is this? Sunflowers are such happy flowers, and they are made up of very simple shapes such as circles and triangles. If you look closely at the sunflowers, you notice that each one is unique. Inspect the centers of the flowers. Okay, all the things about sunflowers, so that's nice. Then it says, for this lesson, you'll be painting your own sunflower using watercolor paint. So I guess you can print this template or copy it, right? Print out or copy the template in this lesson on white cardstock. So you could probably like trace it, the little template that's in here, and then paint the center of the circle, paint the middle ring. So it walks you through all the steps of doing this. So that one's easy. It's just like watercoloring. But then there's like some like more involved ones. And again, maybe I see some of these. I don't have to do every single one of these. But this is like a little pumpkin treat bag. So there's like a template here that I guess I take the felt and, you know, like I trace the felt in the template. So what I like about these things is I feel like since I bought it and since I have it, like I'm more encouraged to actually do at least a few of these, so that I'm not like, man, like I wasted my money on that book that sat there that I never did anything with. When I'm just saving stuff on Pinterest, like, I don't know, like there's not as much of a motivator for me to like actually go out and do the thing. So hopefully throughout the school year, I'll be inspired to do at least a few of these, and it'll get Riley and maybe even Jackson can do some of these. Like it'll be the arts and crafts that they can do. We could do these on the weekends. We can do these during the summer. Like it's just never a bad idea to have some, you know, arts and crafts kind of ready and somewhat prepared for you, especially if you're not like an artsy, creative Pinterest mom kind of person. So there you go, guys. I hope that that at least helped a little bit. Maybe I confused you more. I'm very sorry if I did. My biggest takeaway though in reviewing these materials and stuff is I feel like there's still not as much a focus on learning the Bible as there is in the Horizons curriculum. And maybe some people like that. Again, like everybody's curriculum can be different, but I would, like, if I went with something like this, I would still want to do more Bible study on the side, which you could do, right? Like you could have your kids watch VeggieTales. You can read to them from the children's Bible. Like there's no right or wrong way to do that. But given that I've seen some other curriculums where that's actually incorporated into the curriculum on a daily basis, and it's like a reminder to me like, hey, we're going to talk about this verse and we're going to go through this, I feel like that for me, where I'm at in my life, I would probably want that a little bit, you know, more than not having it. But it is a pretty curriculum. I've got to say it's very pretty. I haven't watched like a lot of their videos, so maybe their videos and their songs and all of that are also really nice. I don't quite understand like the not having a teacher's guide and a student guide, like the fact that, you know, I'd kind of have to be over Riley's shoulder and then kind of like passing her the book. I don't know, maybe, I mean, we save trees that way, I guess, but that's something that's different to me from, you know, another curriculum. But at the same time, I mean, the pro is that, I mean, it's only 90 lessons. So it does seem like it's maybe less intense, maybe, as the Horizons curriculum. So I don't know. You guys have to figure it out because I'm not the one teaching your kid. But those are some of my overall takeaways. We'll definitely be using this. I think Riley's really gonna like this. And as I go reading the stories, because I've had some people also tell me, like, I know that there is some controversy over the good and the beautiful. And there's some people in the Christian community that, like, because the founders of this, I think that, don't get me wrong, okay, I don't know for certain, but I think the founders of this are Mormon, and I think some people have an issue with that. I don't know. I haven't looked into much of the scandal because I honestly like just wanted to like see it for myself. And to be honest, like I'm Catholic. I've used a non-Catholic curriculum. I've used a Christian curriculum. It's been just fine. So I don't even know exactly what the difference between like the Mormon religion and the Catholic religion or the Christian religion is. I don't know all the details. So if I were to start reading this book and for some reason I start to see like themes or things that like veered off course from biblical teaching, then I would have an issue with it and I'd have to skip those parts or, you know, reconsider using it at all. But so far in like the bit that I have read and the bit that I have picked up, I haven't seen anything that's like, oh my God, no, like that's not what I want to be teaching my kid. So I'll keep you posted as time goes by, but as of right now, we will be using this, and I will be using the arts and crafts project. And I don't know, maybe we'll use like the games and stuff that came with the pre-K curriculum, and I'll save the other stuff for Jackson. I will keep you guys posted, but definitely subscribe if you're not already, so that way you guys can follow along in the homeschooling journey, and that way you guys can do some of this with me regardless of what curriculum we do. I like to share those homeschool with us videos, so I hope to do more of them in the fall and this next coming year, so you get some ideas of what I'm teaching Riley and what I'm teaching Jackson and all of that fun stuff, and we just can be friends here on the YouTube and just kind of do this together, and if nothing else, just serve as an encouragement to one another that like we're doing it. Maybe we're not all that great at it, but we're trying and we're doing our best, and I think that community and that support is super important and like necessary. So I love your faces. I'm proud of you regardless of what curriculum you end up choosing. Just the fact that you've chosen this path, I mean, good for you. Props to you. I know it's different. I know it's not something that everybody does, but I think it can be really fun. Not for everybody, but I think it can be really fun. So I'm excited to be on the journey with you, is all I'm trying to say. So I love your freaking faces. Let's be friends. Make sure that if you did enjoy this video, you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.